afternoon. Today is March 22, on the Thursday of the parent installation during Colombia. We decided to be part of the Work from Home initiative. All this situation has been present by the process in the Latin virus called coronavirus. In this special, we talk about the impact on the health, transport, and tourism due to the prevention of the contagion by closing borders. We will start with the small report with the reporter Sofia Caro. Good afternoon, Sofia. From your house, what do you have to tell us?
I will present some frequent questions and recommendations for our health. The COVID-19 virus can be transmitted in areas with hot and humid climates. The scientific evidence obtained so far indicates that the virus can be transmitted in any area, including those with a hot and humid climate. Regardless of weather conditions, protective measures must be taken if you live in or travel to an area where cases have been reported. The best way to protect yourself against is to wash your hands frequently. In this way, viruses that might be on the hands are eliminated and infection that could be caused by touching the eyes, mouth, and nose is avoided. Coldness now cannot kill the new coronavirus. The normal temperature of the human body is maintained around 36.5 and 37 degrees, regardless of the outside temperature or weather conditions. Therefore, there is no reason to believe that the cold can kill the new coronavirus or kill other diseases. The most effective way to protect yourself against is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based disinfectant or soap and water. Droplets that are generated when that person coughs or sneezes, for example, or droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose. To date, there is no information or evidence to indicate that can be transmitted by mosquitoes. To protect yourself, avoid close contact with anyone who has a fever and cough, and practice good hand and respiratory hygiene. Can you kill the new coronavirus by spraying the body with alcohol or white chlorine? No, spraying the entire body with alcohol or chlorine does not kill viruses that have already entered the body. Spraying these substances can damage clothing and mucous membranes, eyes, mouths, etc. But alcohol and chlorine can be used to disinfect surface, provided the relevant recommendations are followed. Does the new coronavirus affect only the elderly, or can it also affect the younger ones? The new coronavirus can infect people of all ages, allow further people and those with certain diseases, such as asthma, diabetes, or heart disease, have been found to be more likely to become severely ill when they acquire the infection. The WHO advises people of all ages to take steps to protect themselves from the virus, for example, through good hand and respiratory hygiene. After all this information, it is suggested to the community to collaborate with the virus trial, without leaving their homes, so as not to infect yourself or infect your relatives and important people. It depends on all. The situation can improve and worsen. There are positive things that all this brings us, such as the recovery of nature and the environment. Perhaps the earth is giving us a second chance. Thanks. I am Ana Sofia Caro.
Thank you for your important information. To keep the mind and not be a victim of this daily virus. Now we want to know what the measures the transport industry has taken for them. Jimena Lavado has great information for us. Let's go, Jimena.
Thanks, Karen. I will report about the transportation in Bogota. Let's continue. Governments around the world have implemented containment measures from banning travel to sport activities to contain the devastating impact of the disease. On Tuesday, March 17, 2020, it was said that in Colombia it could further restrict international flights and impose limitations on nationals and the movement of passengers by land. As part of its efforts to contain the expansion of the virus, Colombia prohibits the entry to its territory by air of all foreign citizens, with the exception of presidents and members of diplomatic missions. Leaders like the mayor of Bogota, Claudia Lopez, asked to cancel international flights to contain the expansion of the virus, and although the government has not taken this measure, it doesn't rule it out either. So, the country of 50 million inhabitants has already experienced a significant reduction in air and road passenger transport internally, where they are in a critical situation, and the companies that move passengers on the roads also suffer the impact. In this regard, there are road controls to prevent the entry of private vehicles as well. At the Bogota Transport Terminal, the health protocols established by the government as the most important transport headquarters in the country have been activated as a prevention of COVID-19. The measure also covers passengers in Bogota due to the outbreak of the virus in that municipality. Furthermore, it was reported that the activity in the terminal has decreased in the recent days by 50%. The President Iván Duque announced that passenger traffic in Colombia will be suspended in the next few hours as a preventive measure to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Now some pictures of what the first days of quarantine look like. That is all for now.
These are the measures that have been taken at an internal level in the country, an issue that is completed by Colombians. Now we are talking about the measures that have been taken at the global level to show our reported with our reporter Yvonne Bustos.
Hi, my name is Yvonne. Now, next one you should come if you were planning to board a train.
In Latin America, the bodies of the different countries were coordinated to projects and counter the effects of the new coronavirus in a region where 7 people have already been infected and the borders have been closed, restricting people's mobility more and more. The close of the world
and the last partially has been the measure taken by the majority of measure numbers in their efforts to meet the expansion of COVID-19. The first to take this share was Uruguay, which declared a partial closure last Friday, a measure that was imitated during the weekend by Argentina, with total border closed, and from Monday by Paraguay. While these three continents have already launched their anti-coronavirus action plan, Brazil remains on the same wing and left the decisions in the hands of the British state and city so that local authorities can consider the rebellions action. Peru will close its borders for 15 days from Tuesday, while the country appears to with under say will military patrolling the streets to monitor the population confinement due to the pandemic. Colombia, with the number of infected people shall over the weekend close the borders until 30 May, but will allowing the transport of cargo for the entry and exit of production through the land points enclave, said President Duque. Chile also lowered the clause of borders and clarified that Chileans and the permanent residents of the country would come from rates place might enter the country on the mandatory quarantine of 14 days. In the Central America, El Salvador and Honduras also closed their borders. In El Salvador, the Missouri to many Salvadorans who remains of the Guatemala say be supporters and they were now unable to return to their homes unless they for 30 days of foreign quarantine with prison charges for those who violate the measures. And the rest of the world, the United States no close borders would suspend an international flights from areas affected by the coronavirus for 13 days. The measure stands for the period 30 days and the reference to the frequencies special to travel from China, South Korea, Japan, Iran, United States, and of country airport. The Airport Union announced on the Monday the close of these borders for 30 days from Tuesday to stop the spread of the coronavirus. The global health crisis will definite our time, according to the World Health Organization.
We see how each country has taken its own containment measures to reduce contagion, but this has had a strong consequence on the economic and global level. To further explain this issue, we have a special report on the economic impact and in the tourism industry and the world level.
Well, the following satellite images are often pleasant and often crowded. But now, it shows how the coronavirus is having an impact on travel and tourism. Considering in the state had been banned events that meeting 15 or more people. The pubs are closed and the restaurant or food service have to work only with food delivery until April 6th. Many economic sectors are debating how to overcome the crisis and paralysis. Some economic topics like the tourism and among others that had been affected by preventions to spread of disease, such as avoiding crowds of people to prevent the possibility of the extreme isolation. Which the partial closure of the border is the novelty that will surely impact among hoteliers. What has the tourism ministry done? Yesterday, the Ministry of Tourism posted the Guide of Good Practice, which is a kind of manual in which in detail the steps to be followed, signs, and issues until how to act to active the protocol in case of the suspicion to be infected. And such information material reaffirmed the necessity to be isolated for 14 days. People who had direct contact with the possible patients or with people who come from a country with a high rate or affected. For example, the relative of the French woman from Kashi, whom have made this installation in hotel in the capital since last Thursday. For that reason, these are already several hotels that made this proposal due to be concern generated beside measures that become not viable for tourists, had should be absorbed by the hoteliers himself. That's the case of the tourism industry, but also it has affected the majority of the markets seen during the last days. And certainly ignorance about the COVID-19 epidemic has also reached the stock markets and economy of the world. As noted above, the difficulty is slowing down the epidemic spread. It has forced governments to apply extraordinary measures, such as closing public buildings, companies, and shops, as well as limiting mobility. International organizations like the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, warned that the pandemic might be reduce the world economic growth in the 2020. In a situation like this, the states are forced to pump a lot of amount of money to keep the system working. For example, people who have been temporarily out of work can try to pay bills, or companies that can't produce, they can pay their workers. To prevent this problem will be spreading in a short period of time. It is a suggests that foreigners and nationals take the usual prevention measures to mitigate this problem that affects everyone. Good day.